Hello, it's Julia from Julia K Art Studio, and I am back with a new, I was going to say sketchbook tour, but it's not actually a sketchbook. So, yeah, let me explain. I have a small business where I make handmade watercolors, and I've been doing it for quite a few years. And quite some time ago, Jem from the Color Cave, she asked me like, "Would you like this little book?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, what should I use it? So, I don't know if you can tell, the cover here is pristine. But I decided to have it next to me when I was making paint. So, let's see, I started this the 12th of October. And what I've done here is whenever I make watercolor, and before I clean it all off, I like to spray it and then dip this book into the paint. So it sort of becomes like a visual journal or visual, yeah, like what kind of paint I've done instead of just writing the name. And I just really love the texture that it gets. So before that, this is a 10 by 15 journal by Seawhite of Brighton, and I just really love their journals. So yeah, first up we have Elizabeth. Then we had a color I was working on for like a cinnamon effect. Aster, which is a quinacridone magenta. And it's like in the beginning it's just like these color, but it becomes messier and messier the more I use it. And I just like keep an eye out on the edges, because I think that's where the beauty really is. We have a double spread of opium because why not? And also again, these sort of this is my version of burnt sienna. It's called Albert. And again, we have some opium coming through here, and some green and some purple. Next up, we have Findus, which is a green shimmery color. And we have some Caspian. You see this sort of turquoise color coming up here, and this is from, you can see a little bit of opium and some Albert. It's just Arvid, you have this teal color with the red sparkle. It's inspired by the weathering of copper. It starts out red and then becomes this sort of turquoise green, and I just really like that because you still have that copper flakes in the shimmer, but it has this sort of green undertone. And it's named after my brother because he just loves everything that is corroded or rusty or, well, dirty, to be quite fair, honestly. Caspian, I just really like these marks. Obviously here I have used my my glass molar when I was making the paint, and then just sprayed it, so I still get that sort of flow of the color. This is a really interesting color. It's called Ulf, and it's a very normal Swedish name for a man, but it's a version of Ulv, which is another name for a wolf. And yeah, when it looks in the pan almost red, and then you use it, and it like has this sort of a blue tint, and then you can get it almost black. And here you can see my thumb trying to move it while I was cleaning up. Here is the first cleanup of Fira, which is a color I made where I had like a beigey, grayish, neutral color, and then a ton of different specks of different colors that I've made throughout the years. So cleaning this up, you can see we have some teal and some really red, and it just, oh, so pretty. And then we see Ulf on the edges, and I think there is some Edgar too coming up later. Oh, coming up right away actually. Edgar, again, a really fun color because you have this sort of dark black granulating, and this sort of blue that separates. It's so fun. You can use it almost like as a black with just to darken stuff, or when you use it quite lightly in water it just flows out and you get these magical effects with it. Another cleanup of Fira, and here you can see all the different little specks of all the different colors that has been, and I think that is just so fun. It looks almost a little bit boring at times, and then you just stumble into these colors. Valdemar, a really nice green, but then you have this really dark shimmer. Oh, I really like this one. And another Valdemar. I think what had happened, I made too small of a batch, so I had to do another one the day after. Okay, yep. Here, I was trying out 3 new pigments that I just bought, and I did it kind of quickly, so that's why I have a lot of these, because this hadn't all dried yet. But it is PY154, and it's amazing, this yellow. Isn't it just? This is the yellow I used for Helios, so that's a single pigment, and I just find it so strong and vibrant without being that really heavy opaque that yellows can often be. And because I make my paints myself, I can't mold them further, or I can't grind them up more. I have to use what I can get. So I was really happy finding this amazing yellow. And then the red that we see here, it's another pigment, and this is PR144. And yeah, so pretty. And then I bought another red, and you can see here it's much more to that sort of pink side, whereas this is more like, I would say, more true red, whereas this one looks more like it's going to a sort of pinky coral color. And that is PR170, and you can see at the bottom here where Saga has creeped up. Oh, isn't that so pretty? I know that pink and purple, or red and purple, can be a little bit like iffy, but doesn't that just look so perfect together? We can see more of Saga here, but this is actually Elsa, and Elsa is just a clear color that just has a bigger shimmer to it, so you get a little bit more of an effect. It reads more like a sparkle and not so much as pearl. So I love using this like for winter scenes or like frost on branches. It's really nice if you want to have that sort of frosty effect. Here we get to Saga, and I really like the Saga. It's a really light color. So here it's really quite watered down, but we can see where it was here. When you use quite a lot of it, you have that sort of pink purpley color. We can also see a bit of Veritas up here. Oh yeah, that's because it's just up here. And Veritas is that really nice light sky blue with this shimmer, and if you put this shimmer on black, it reads just like gold, but here I would say it reads more like a light tealy color. And we have a little bit of Findus over here, and Saga. The next one here is Algot, which is one of those light, fairly opaque yellows. And you can see here we have some violet coming through. It's the next color here, violet. And this is an ultramarine violet. And you can see that on just how much it granulates. And I just love and I think it would be so fun doing this and like start making like a map or something. It's so amazing how granulating colors they're sort of painting by themselves. And here is actually one of the first colors. It's not really, but yeah, one of the first colors I made. It's Marie, which is PR101, and it's red iron oxide. And in Sweden, all of our houses are red because of this color, and it looks a little bit brownier because it's quite thick here, but I just love the variation you can get with something such opaque pigment. And we have some ruby here in the corner. We have Doris here, I think. But again, like it's a really a color that usually is considered very thick, or not thick, a very opaque color and quite like heavy in a way. But putting it like on a wet piece of paper, it just sort of comes to life. Speaking of another like sort of underrated color, this is Hilda, which is a raw sienna, and I love this raw sienna because it goes almost a little bit almost to the brown orangey side. You can see up here where it's really quite thick, and then just this really warm color, just so pretty. And I love this color. I think it's so good for pretty much everything, but it does look really dull and unappealing like when it's dried, because it usually has that sort of unattractive yellow color. It's often cracked because it's a dry pigment, but it's just such a nice color to use as a base to mix with others to get that sort of afternoon sunlight. Yeah. Even more ruby. Should we guess it's ruby coming up? Yep, here it is. So red has been a bit tricky, which is why I try to test new red pigments. But here is the red. I have two red shimmery paints, and one is matte, which is like almost like a clear with a red shimmer. But here I really wanted to make a red that is a red under base and then some shimmer. So we have that base of matte, which is this really fine shimmer, and then we have some bigger I don't know if you can see some bigger shapes or bigger particles, and then we have the Alison Crimson Hue as that red base of it, and it looks really quite pink because it is so watered down here, but you can really tell here, like you get a really nice deep red with it. And here we have Anne, which is part of the Jane collection, and it's a mix of titanium white, alizarin crimson, so the base non-shimmery color that is in here, and then yellow ochre, and it gets almost like this sort of fleshy color, but because we have the red iron oxide, you get this amazing you can get what do you call it in English, backgrounds or cauliflowering. I just so pretty. And I saw that on my workspace I had a little bit of a patch where I had a little bit of that, just that red left, so I just had to do that because it was so pretty. We have some more Edgar, and here you can see you can really get that sort of black with it, and if you water it down you get these sort of blue shapes, and it just looks so like isn't this like the perfect if you want to make like a fantasy map, like wet the paper and then just sprinkle Edgar on, and you have like the mountain ranges and you have the beaches and the and everything. It's just so cool. This is PB60, which is a Delft blue, and it is I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with this color because look at this blue. It is the most incredible blue ever, but it is so hard to work, and usually you do have to mold the paint quite a bit to get like a nice, especially when you just have like these flat pigments, but this is just it's almost torture. It's a really hard work, and I say that, but keep in mind, like, I am sick, like I'm not a physically prime person, so it could just be that I'm not that don't have that good stamina to work with it, but it takes me a long time. On average, it takes me about half an hour to make a paint or a paint batch. This pigment, easy an hour. That's like the minimum, just to get everything mold out. But it just, oh, it's so pretty. Oh, we go from like the darkest, deepest color to no color at all. This is Tindra, and it's a little bit like that Elsa effect. We have bigger sparkly particles without it being glitter. But here, instead of just having white, we have all the colors, and it's just so pretty. Again, if you want to have that sort of frosted effect, that winter glow, but having a little bit more color, it just, oh, it is so pretty. And this color is really fun to mix with others because you don't have that, you don't have any background color to it. It's so easy to mix with others. And here you can see how it looks when it just that color on its own. And we have Saga, but this time we have a little bit thicker, not as watered down. So here we have Saga really watered down, where you can just barely see the shimmer, and we have a light pink, like barely there, tint to the paper. Whereas here we definitely have that pink to a purple shift, and then also that gold flecks in those bigger particles. And then we have Frigg. Again, not that much of a background color you can see here, but we do have quite a lot of this amazing teal, almost green shimmer. So pretty. And Frigg, again, is named after one of the North goddesses. And that's the last one. For a notebook that I got and I didn't really know what to do with, it's one of my most prized notebooks because I just love looking through it. And even though it's not anything I've actually done or painted, I just love it. And I am working on another one. I have switched because I just love this idea so much, having my own little visual representation of the colors I have made and how they look just before cleaning up. So I started a new one that I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to have a ton of them. But yeah, I really like it. I hope you have liked it too, listening to all my thoughts about and I don't think I actually swatched all the colors, but you know, like a good bit of them. Also, a lot of the colors I make bigger batches, and then I put them into a jar and put them into the fridge. So I don't have stuff where I have to make Valdemar and then Valdemar again. You know, trying to do planning and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed looking through it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Take care, and I hope to see you soon.